I don't think Adam really understands the damage that this video could have on the hearing loss community. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona, and I am back to provide another reaction to a video on Adam Savage's Tested channel about his hearing aids. This is probably my third or fourth video that I'm reacting to on Adam's channel about his hearing aids. Now, if you don't know who Adam Savage is, he essentially is one of the individuals that was on Mythbusters from years ago on the Discovery Channel. But his YouTube channel is called Adam Savage's Tested, and I highly recommend his channel. I absolutely love it myself. And if I'm being honest, most of my reactions to the videos on his channel when he's talking about hearing aids are extremely positive, but this is not one of those videos. Now, before I get started with my reaction to Adam's new video, if you could do me a huge favor, click the like button, really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. That being said, let's go ahead and get started.
Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in the cave, and today we're going to be continuing a conversation that we've been having on the channel for a while about hearing loss. Specifically about my hearing loss, also about destigmatizing hearing aids and covering advances in virtual audiology care. Jabra Enhance, the sponsor of today's video, as well as the maker of the hearing aids I've been wearing for a while now, have now made it possible to get a hearing assessment online without needing to visit a clinic. Dr. Katie Keese, Jabra Enhance's head of audiology, visited me here in the cave to answer my questions about at-home audiology and why remote access to hearing care can be life-changing. Hi, Katie. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I wanted to talk globally about how you guys approached making the hearing aid onboarding process remote.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been fitting with people with hearing aids for, close to 100 years or so.
Yeah, looking at this old stuff.
As you can see, but the biggest thing that, is my responsibility as an audiologist, as a provider, is to educate and really make sure that the person with the hearing loss and the people around them are able to support and advocate for best communication strategies and things like that. So, historically, it was something that we always had to do in person.
Right.
You had to come to me, I had to fit you, I had to give you the device and give you all the tools to clean it and educate you and anyone else around you.
I will say that it is true that traditionally, if you wanted to get hearing aids in the past, you did have to go in and see a hearing care professional. You could not just procure these devices online and fit yourself. But notice one thing that she did not mention there. She did not mention once that they had the ability to verify the programming of their hearing aids. This is something that can still not be done remotely. Now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about when I say verify the hearing aids, what I mean is making sure that they are programmed correctly to your hearing loss prescription using real ear measurement. There is no way for anyone who sells hearing aids online to perform real ear measurement with you, which means that there is no way for them to know if your hearing aids are actually programmed the right way. So while they can do all of those other things that she's talking about, they can't do the most important thing, which is to verify audibility of the devices. But let's continue.
But fast forward now, we're able to do things virtually.
And a lot of that is because with these old hearing aids, these had to be wired in order to make any adjustment to their settings. And now the stuff that I'm wearing in my head, you can do it all remotely.
And again, you cannot do it all remotely. You can do some things remotely, but the most important things you still can't.
We've been able to miniaturize the electronics way past what we thought was like advanced 35 years ago.
Totally. I know some of the offices I worked in the past, we had our walls of cables and we had our neck loops, and you had to physically be there for me to make any adjustment at all.
Oh my gosh, the neck loops. I totally remember the angel hair wires coming out of my hearing aids during my early audio tests.
They could be such a pain point sometimes when they'd fall out in the middle of things.
Totally agree with that.
So what were the early challenges you saw with making the onboarding process remote and getting people comfortable with that?
Yeah, so...
Or is it actually getting people comfortable with it?
I think a lot of it is getting people comfortable with it. We've been doing this since the pre-COVID days, and so a lot of people had a healthy level of skepticism of, can you even do these things virtually?
I would say that yes, you can do this stuff virtually. You can just do it very poorly. Now, I've been doing virtual sessions with patients since before COVID as well. The big difference here is that I had to have them come into the clinic to make sure that I was able to initially verify the programming with real ear measurement to guarantee their success, where this is something that they can't do at Jabra because there is only virtual visits that you have.
And it's definitely not the easy way out, but again, it's giving the person on the other end the tools they need to be equipped with to do things themselves with guidance and education through me.
Are there lessons you guys learned that you were really surprised by in terms of doing this remotely versus in person?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest lessons is I'm never ageist. There are, what you would consider to be young people who don't know how to properly close an app. And there are, I think our oldest customer is 103, super tech savvy people who are very, very capable of doing things on their own with appropriate level of guidance. And so I think the biggest thing was learning how to empower people on the other end to have a little bit of that DIY spirit and able to troubleshoot and do things themselves when I can't physically change a wax filter or change a dome for you.
I'll tell you, the 2 times over COVID, some companies sent me some hearing aids they were testing and asked me to try their onboarding process. And in both cases, that process involved each of the different products making a spiky sound that caused me discomfort. And I was very surprised about how quickly that made me want to just not deal with them again. And very specifically, it made me think, the people that designed this weren't thinking about my personal experience of this.
Yeah.
How do you, I guess, corporatize empathy to understand the customer's experience?
What a coincidence. I have a patient who came in with their Jabra hearing aids that reported the exact same thing that Adam just talked about, with them sounding really spiky and uncomfortable to wear. Let me show you what I'm actually talking about. So that patient who is wearing the Jabra Enhance hearing aids, I had them come into the clinic and I ran real ear measurement on them so I could see how the hearing aids are programmed after numerous sessions with their audiologist from Jabra. And here's what I found. Now, just to orient you with what we're looking at here, inside of this blue box is the measurement of the left ear hearing aid, and inside of the red box is the right ear hearing aid. The purple hash mark lines that you see here are the actual prescription for this patient for the amount of amplification that they would ideally need from their devices. The solid purple line, though, is how much amplification their hearing aids were actually giving them. Anywhere the solid line is below the hash mark line, it means that they're being under-amplified, and anywhere you see this solid line peak above the hash mark line means that they're being over-amplified. Now, mind you, this was after like 7 virtual sessions with the hearing care professional at Jabra, and the amplification levels are dramatically over-amplified in this narrow frequency range, which was giving her an incredible amount of discomfort, but she still couldn't hear and understand everything because all of the prescriptive targets above that and below that were below target. And this was just with average level speech. The same problem existed for soft level speech amplification and loud level speech amplification. And the problem is, Jabra doesn't even make their programming software available to hearing care professionals, so I couldn't even go in and fix the massive programming errors that were made by Jabra here. She essentially had to send these hearing aids back to Jabra, but it turns out that she was outside of the return window, so she had to pay for the Jabra hearing aids without getting a refund, and she had to purchase new hearing aids from me to fix the issue. This problem could have been easily solved if Jabra had the ability to run real ear measurement, which they don't.
I mean, we're very explicit with who we hire, from our marketing to every single person in our company, whether you are customer facing or not, genuinely cares about the experience of the end user. Because at the end of the day, yes, we're selling a product, but we're selling a service with a product, and I want you to be successful with that. And if you're not successful, that's my fault. And so it's always thinking about how can I make the person on the other end successful, and how can I make sure that their friends and family are able to support them to also be successful.
And if they really had the goal of making their patients successful, they would make the programming software available to local hearing care professionals so we could fix the issues of Jabra. And just to be clear, I have never received a direct referral from Jabra to help them out with a patient that they clearly are struggling with.
For me, the very first time I got hearing aids, one of the difficulties I had in making that appointment was I couldn't believe anything could help me. I have a mild loss, about 18 to 22%, depending on the ear. And I just didn't imagine that there was improvement to be gotten. And I was absolutely shocked the first time. Do you get the same rush seeing that look of pleasure on someone's face, whether it's remote or in person?
Oh, absolutely. We end up with people who are experienced users like yourself, or brand new users who really don't know what to expect. And I think hearing loss often is so gradual and slow and over time that people don't realize what they're missing till you get it back all at once. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, and I'm there to make adjustments in the moment and make sure it's comfortable. But a lot of times people just didn't realize, oh my God, this is what I was missing, and now I get it back. And so we always like to say we're equal part audiologist and marriage counselor because our entire goal is to get you reconnected with the world around you.
I will say that Jabra is probably much more successful for individuals who have a mild level hearing loss, because you can make errors in the programming of a pair of hearing aids and get away with it if someone has only a mild level hearing loss. But once you start getting into the moderate level, moderately severe, and all the way up to severe and profound, you really can't do that. In those cases, you have to make sure that the hearing aids are programmed correctly, because otherwise the patient will suffer, and that is horrible, not just for the patient, but for everyone that they communicate with.
It starts with your partner.
It definitely can.
Okay, so walk me through your onboarding process. Where does it begin?
Yeah, so there are multiple ways that you can end up with this little box kind of in your possession. So really the start is you have your box, and ideally...
This is something you guys would mail to the customer?
We would mail it directly to the customer. And so once you have your box, it's my job to make sure that you're comfortable with everything in the box. So one thing that we have here is we also have these little cards who walk you through like the actual setup and things like that. We have a YouTube channel that has lots of instructional videos and lots of emails that will come out to you. And one thing with remote care is not just having one way of doing things, it's meeting people where they are with their tech level. And so if you're a visual learner, we've got videos you can watch. If you want some real life support, we have humans on the other end who can talk you through things. So really step one is opening up the box, getting familiar with everything in the box, and then ideally come to an appointment with myself or one of our licensed hearing care professionals, and we can customize the devices and make sure that you're comfortable and confident with the sound quality, how to clean and take care of those devices and get the most out of them.
So Katie, when I'm making that appointment with an audiologist, are your audiologists licensed to be audiologists in the state that I might be in?
Absolutely. It's something that in the world of virtual care is critical that you have the appropriate license. You know, we have 50 states, and my provider team, everyone is licensed, and they have multiple licenses, and we can serve all 50 states plus Washington, D.C.
Amazing.
So you can guarantee that, in the state of California, you're going to get a provider that is licensed in the state of California.
Now, just because you're licensed in a particular state does not make this legal. And so let me explain what I mean here. So I have a friend and colleague, Dr. Scott Frank, who practices up in Salem, Oregon. And inside of Oregon, if you have hearing aids dispensed to you and the clinic that dispenses them does not use real ear measurement, and you end up not liking those hearing aids even 5 years after you purchase them, you can return them for a full refund. This is because the state of Oregon realizes that when you have hearing aids that have been programmed without real ear measurement, it is a violation of the person who has hearing loss. It just isn't right, and at least Oregon completely understands that. So if you have Jabra hearing aids and you do not like the way that they perform in the state of Oregon, and you're even after your 100-day refund window, you can still get a refund on those devices. And if Jabra refuses, I would absolutely reach out to the licensing board in Oregon and let them know what's going on.
So full disclosure, I got one of these boxes from you. I'm wearing a pair of hearing aids from this box. I opened it up. It told me to put it in the charger for a few hours, which I did. That was very clear. The charger's got lights, which are nice and clear.
Yep.
And then I popped them in, and you were able to take the audio profile that I had gotten done, and you were able to just transfer it right into these hearing aids remotely.
Absolutely. And that's one of the really cool things. Often people think, oh, something that's coming through me on the mail, it must be a one size fits most and not really customizable. Our product is absolutely customizable. So whether you have a hearing test from another local ENT or audiologist, I can take that and I can customize your hearing aids and program them to your loss. We also have the option of a free online hearing test. There's research to show the validity of doing an online hearing test to also program hearing aids.
And again, the hearing test or getting a hearing test is not the issue. The issue is that even if you upload that hearing test into the programming software for Jabra, it doesn't guarantee that those hearing aids are going to be programmed correctly for you. This is exactly why you need real ear measurement. I mean, I can't even take an audiogram and upload it into your programming software at my office and get the proper amount of amplification without verifying it with real ear measurement. They're talking about how you can get a validated hearing test online, and that doesn't even matter because you can't use it to properly program hearing aids. Ay, ay, ay.
You don't need me to tell you there's a bunch of moving parts to a hearing aid,
Yeah.
but how do you guys work out the fit of the ear wires for this kind of behind the ear hearing aid and also the ear cups, ear
Yeah.
cones? What are those called again?
Tomato. We've got ear cups, ear cones, earbuds, but domes is often what they're referred to in the
that's it.
hearing aid world.
Okay, so how do you make sure that the wire and the dome fit the customer?
Valid question, because the fit of the hearing aid is the most critical part. Otherwise, if it's not fitting properly, it's not going to sound properly.
Completely agree with that.
So we've got our ear measurement tool that we include in all of our kits. You might recognize this.
That's totally, I forgot what that's amazing.
Yeah, so we've got blue for the left and then red for the right.
Okay.
The wires come in 5 different lengths, so we measure on camera. If someone for some reason doesn't have access to a camera, we can have them take a picture and send it to us.
Okay.
So we can measure and make sure that you have the appropriate length of wire on your
Okay.
actual device and send you a longer or shorter one if the size that you have on out of the box isn't appropriate.
Amazing. And then the ear cup, I use these called a tulip right now.
Yes.
I had an issue. My mom's hearing aids were falling out of her ears, and I was saying to her that shouldn't happen. The ear cup should be able to be part of the
Yeah.
adhesion to your head.
Should
Am I
not
right?
migrate.
Absolutely.
Okay. So how do we make sure that fitment is right for the customer?
Yeah, so our box, it includes a variety of all these different ear cups, domes, earbuds, again, whatever you want to call them.
It's like a king's ransom of every size there is.
Absolutely. So we have a variety of different sizes and styles. The size is important based off the anatomy of your ear, whereas the style is important based off the sound quality that you can expect from your hearing loss. So we have an open style that kind of allows sound out.
So that's open style is a cup that has holes in it, so some
Correct.
sound from the outside world comes into the ear canal as well as what the hearing aid generates.
Absolutely. And for those with less low frequency hearing loss, it doesn't plug you up as much.
That's me. I have all low frequency hearing loss, which is uncommon.
Yeah.
That's why I cover more. Yeah.
And that's why, like with your tulip style, that's like a very specific anatomical and sound quality type of dome. And then you also have some closed styles, which again don't have as many holes. So it keeps that sound in your ear and from leaking out.
The very first time I put hearing aids in my ear, I was unprepared for even the soft rubber of the cone. Caused me some discomfort for the first few days while my ears got used to it. How easy is it to get a hold of somebody online, either via chat or Zoom meeting, to be able to talk about those discomforts?
Yeah, so you can just go online and book an appointment with us as a licensed provider, but also you can just give us a call on our customer service team is there to answer. We have chat, you can email us, and you can also even just buy these extra domes online through a little store that we have on our website.
Yeah, so don't just go and just buy random domes online, because like she mentioned, the dome style has to do with the fit and retention of the device as well as the acoustics of the device. Now, they send all these different domes, and you might be popping on a dome that's most comfortable to you. Problem is that acoustically that might be completely inappropriate. And the biggest issue that I have here is that it's not really possible to identify if you have the proper acoustic coupling of that dome inside of your ear canal to prevent feedback and to get you the right amount of amplification and to prevent insertion loss and the occlusion effect. On top of that, they have no way to do custom ear molds. Now, most hearing losses out there, you can get away with the rubber dome, but there is definitely a good percentage of hearing losses that you need a custom ear mold for, and you just can't do a custom ear mold when you purchase the Jabra devices online. I don't really know what Jabra's strategy is when they identify a hearing loss that requires a custom ear mold, but again, I've never had anyone come into my office saying, hey, can you send me with an ear mold impression so I can go to Jabra and get them to make a custom ear mold for me.
All right, Katie, when I first got hearing aids, I went with a major local hospital, a gold standard institution, teaching hospital with a huge audiology department, and I was vexed repeatedly about how long it took me to get appointments and to get adjustment appointments, like six weeks sometimes, just to get in front of somebody. How do you guys deal with?
This is why it is much better to go to a private practice that follows best practices, because some people go to these massive hospital groups and think that they're better, but the hearing care professionals that are there are completely swamped with patients and they don't have enough time to spend with you. And if they do spend a good amount of time with you, that means that it's going to take you forever to get an appointment. Unfortunately, this would lead to even a lower quality of care in many cases because of the limitations that are imposed on the providers when they're trying to facilitate your audiologic care completely online. Now, if you're looking for a local place to go that doesn't have massively long wait times, go to hearingup.com and find a Hearing Up Network member in your area. These individuals have been vetted through my program to make sure that they're following comprehensive audiologic best practices to maximize your overall performance with hearing aids. And yes, every single one of them does real ear measurement, which is critical to your overall hearing aid success. All right, back to it.
I mean, that's a very real world experience that lots of people deal with. And so one thing that's really cool here is because we are virtual, we're able to see people pretty quickly. We like to see people at least no more than like 2 to 3 weeks after they get their first device. And we're able to do adjustments in appointments live, but we can also do adjustments asynchronously through the app. So you're not having to wait another 6 weeks for an appointment if I just need to turn the volume up a little bit.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Katie, what are some of the other things people could expect when they're doing a virtual online onboarding?
Yeah, absolutely. So during that virtual appointment, we always start with hearing health history. So, I know you personally have quite an extensive hearing health history.
Yeah.
So just learning a bit about you, and if I need to refer out to someone locally, I absolutely will. And then we also want to know your goals.
I've never seen
Why
a
are
referral.
you here? Did your wife drag you here, or are you here because of your own accord? And really figuring out the why, because the why is what's going to make sure that I know you're being successful. So there's lots of different ways to get outcomes. We use something called the Client-Oriented Scale of Improvement, the COSI survey. So yeah, we figure out your why, and that's what we refer back to every single time we see you.
I love the COSI too. I use the COSI inside of my clinic to validate the hearing aid fitting to make sure that my patient is having success. The problem is that they're completely ignoring the verification aspect of a pair of hearing aids. This would be real ear measurement. The fact that they're doing validation, but they're completely ignoring verification is disturbing at best. And again, I'm not trying to knock the hearing care professional, but at the end of the day, I find it to be completely unethical to do a validation outcome without doing verification of the hearing aid programming.
A couple of times in the past, when I've seen an ENT, my ears have historically produced a tremendous amount of wax. And that has caused some ENTs to say, I can't see today. I've got to send you for an ear cleaning appointment before I get a viable hearing test.
Yeah.
How would that work with the virtual appointment?
Oh, we'll be the first people to refer out
Yeah,
if
sure.
necessary, because
Yeah.
that is absolutely a limitation. I can't remove wax out of your ears.
How would they even
I'm
know
not
to
physically
refer
there
out?
most
The
of the
patient
time.
doesn't
so,
know if they have earwax.
if there's ever anything where there's a red flag, is what we call it, then we would simply refer you. If you don't have someone local, it's also my job to help you find someone local who
Amazing.
can provide you that care. So.
Incredible.
Yeah, earwax is a huge issue for online procurement of hearing aids and especially online hearing tests. If you go on and you take a self-hearing evaluation on the Jabra Enhance website and you don't know if your ears have earwax in them or not, you're getting a completely invalidated test there, and they have no way to do bone conduction testing on you to identify if you have a conductive component to your hearing loss caused by that earwax. And again, there's no way for them to know if there's earwax inside of your ear canals because they can't even look inside of your ear canals if they're doing everything virtually.
Okay, so it took me a long time, but I got my 91-year-old mom to get hearing aids a few years back.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I think my winning argument was, Mom, no one who got hearing aids ever thought it was a bad idea after the fact. No one ever said, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
100%
So she got
true.
them,
Everyone who
but she
gets
called me
hearing
up one
aids
day
is like,
and
boy,
said,
this is the
listen, I
best
can't
idea
hear
ever.
out of this hearing aid, and it says it's on and it says that it's working. And I gave her the instruction of pull off the ear cup, roll it around, and some wax will probably come out, and try just putting it back on. And she was like, oh my gosh, that worked. So there's a lot of little hints and tricks to know about owning a
Definitely.
hearing aid. How do you guys disseminate those sort of lessons to the customer base?
Yeah, and that's back to that whole thing around education, right? It's my job to teach you so that you're equipped with the tools to troubleshoot on your own. So when things look to be on but they're not working, you know what to do. So we absolutely have these little guys. Looks like a little matchbook, but it's actually a wax filter.
I love the wax filters. Every time I put one in, everything sounds better.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in the appointment, we're teaching how to utilize this, how to take off that little dome, how to push in and take out the full wax filter and then replace it. But we also have YouTube videos that we send after the fact so that someone in, 3 months down the road or 1 month or maybe even sometimes a couple days, depending on who you are, can reference that and they can do it on their own as well.
I have this technique I do, which is I can tell when there's wax buildup. Is if I touch the top of the hearing aid, I can hear the difference in the crispness of the sound. Do you guys give like little lessons and stuff like that for people to how to maintain them?
Absolutely. We teach you what to expect, what's normal and what's not normal. So that, I love it. The mic check. Like, okay, yes, I hear it. Or, figure out, is my phone the problem? If it's connected to the phone, is it the receiver wire? Is it the wax filter's clogged? Or is it actually all that's working fine and maybe it's actually my ears myself and I do need to go get something checked out physically. So we give all the tips and tricks to know how to kind of troubleshoot and figure out what's going on with your device.
Okay, so a big reason that people purchase their hearing aids online is because they don't have anywhere else to go to get hearing aids. It's an accessibility issue. And so if they are referring people out to local clinics to get earwax removed or even get assistance with cleaning and maintaining their devices or getting repairs done on their devices, who are they referring out to? Because it's not me. There's plenty of hearing care professionals throughout the greater Phoenix area to give accessibility to care rather than having to go online. Besides, you're gonna have to pay out of pocket to go to a local professional. Jabra's not gonna cover that cost for you. You have to cover that cost for yourself. As opposed to purchasing hearing aids from a local clinic, they'll often provide you with care under that purchase. And on top of that, if you do need reprogramming done, you can't get that done in a local hearing care professional. If you need your Jabra hearing aids repaired, we can't send them back to Jabra to get them repaired. And if you want to get them repaired, you're gonna have to mail your devices back to Jabra for that repair to occur. And they don't have loaner devices for you like a local hearing aid clinic would have to make sure that you don't go a certain period of time without having any devices inside of your ears. Overall, the online model still has a lot of weaknesses and flaws that have not yet been overcome, despite how good this may sound to you. But hey, if you need better accessibility, you really can't afford prescription hearing aids purchased from a local clinic, and you don't care about having those hearing aids actually programmed the right way and serviced the right way, then by all means go and purchase hearing aids online.
Katie, I've got Jabra Select up and running. Walk me through how I would use this app.
Yeah, so it's very important that we, again, back to education, teach people how to use the Jabra Enhanced Select app so they know what they need to come to me for versus what you can just do on your own. So we walk through all the different programs that we can utilize. They come with 4 different programs. We've got a little sound equalizer here that I can see you've been playing around with it since you've been wearing your devices.
Yes.
No kidding, he's playing around with it. His hearing aids are not programmed correctly, so he's trying to figure out a way to make the sound overall better, and he had to do a pretty significant mid-frequency boost there. But again, I'm not shocked because they didn't verify any of the programming. So if I were him, I'd be constantly tinkering inside of the app to try to find any variation of settings that sounded better than what they had out of the box with his audiogram uploaded into the programming software. If everything came back sounding perfect, he likely would not even need to touch that equalizer.
You can make your own kind of sound quality in your own settings and you can save it like that. What's really great is you can also come up here and you can actually reach out to me asynchronously, and this is where you send that adjustment request to me. So again, if you've been playing around with that sound equalizer and you're like, actually, I keep turning up those high frequencies, great. Come in here, send me a request, then I'll turn around in a couple days and send it back to you and you can install it through the app. So this is how we communicate and how we're able to program those hearing aids virtually through the cloud.
And the app will show me that there's an update that I can install, a little red dot somewhere?
Yep.
Okay.
So just a little red dot that you can go and you can install those settings.
Well, if you're not tech savvy, trying to do all this stuff on your own is incredibly difficult. There's a lot of hearing care professionals who struggle with this.
All your cleaning videos, and just really some good solid troubleshooting walkthrough tips that you can access all in your pocket.
I think that some people might be nervous about trying to explain something as subjective as I'm having trouble hearing one of my relatives in the restaurant.
Yeah.
What is your guys' protocol for walking people through how to let them help you help them?
Oh, great question. Because yeah, when you're trying to explain something so subjective as hearing, it can absolutely be tricky, and it's my job to help kind of guide you and get out of you exactly what is going on. So it's your experience, but also bring people to your appointments if you want, and if other people can, talk about what's going on as well, it's fun for the whole family, I guess.
You must have some customers who come really reluctantly and say, my children are forcing me to come to this appointment. I don't agree with them. How do you gently walk them through that there might be something that can help?
Yeah, so I know I've said it a million times, but it's back to that education.
Yeah.
I love to educate people on what they're experiencing and give them the words that they don't realize that they actually have. So, whether it's explaining hearing loss and how we, test across all frequencies and what low frequency hearing loss might sound like to you versus what high frequency hearing loss might sound like. So
yeah, that type of patient doesn't care about the education component. They don't want to be there at that appointment. They don't even believe that they have a problem. The problem you're actually trying to solve is getting their family members off of their back. And if you can figure out a way to communicate that to the patient, then they'll say yes to moving forward with hearing aid treatment.
A common complaint, especially for those people, are I hear people, but everyone mumbles around me. When really, guess what? High frequency hearing loss, it reduces the clarity of speech. And so you don't need volume, you need clarity. Wow. So again, it's giving people the language that they don't actually have, or it might be everyone else's
Again, they're
fault.
not going to admit to they
and
have any
sometimes it
kind
might
of
be other
issue,
people's
so
fault, but for the time when it's not,
helpful.
it's giving people the language to articulate what they're experiencing.
One of the hints I gave in one of the early videos I did on this channel about hearing loss was I said, if you're talking to someone with some hearing loss and they say, what? It's really important that you don't just repeat what you said in the exact same cadence you said it the first time, because those of us with hearing loss are always rewinding what we've heard and trying to replay it. And if we didn't get it the first time, I'm never going to get it. I now have aphasia for that cadence. And so it's really important that someone says it in a different way.
Absolutely. And it's just really learning good communication strategies for the people you're around the most. So if I turn my back to you and start talking like this, fortunately, I have a microphone on today, but not everyone has a microphone on that's going straight into someone's ears. So it's learning how to advocate for yourself when someone's not using a good communication strategy as well. So knowing where to sit in the noisy restaurant, knowing where to sit in a classroom setting, or if you're going to a theater or something along those lines, it's knowing those good communication strategies. So I have a question for you. So we had an orientation about, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago. How have things been going since our orientation?
I'm so glad you asked. As a longtime hearing aid wearer, I'm very sensitive to features and the ways the hearing aids actually help me. I will say, as advertised, these are great. They're working just fine. I've been wearing Jabras now for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I really like them. I like their expense. I like how inexpensive they are. I like how dynamic the app is. And specifically in doing things like listening to podcasts or taking phone calls on these hearing aids, this is my favorite model I have yet used for that. And when I talk on the phone, the experience of the person I'm talking to is the best I've had yet with a hearing aid.
That's kind of disturbing. Notice how he didn't say that his overall hearing ability is the best with these hearing aids. I mean, he mentioned the price, he mentioned the streaming quality, and all that's great, but isn't the number one goal with any pair of hearing aids is to hear your absolute best? And he is not reporting that here. This is especially shocking because Adam isn't someone who needs to save money on hearing aids. He has the ability to afford extremely high quality care. Unfortunately, when he did go to local clinics to get that high quality care from a massive hospital group, they didn't really do that good of a job. It just tells me that he has never actually experienced really high quality best practice audiologic care, because if he had, the first thing out of his mouth was, I feel like I'm hearing better with these hearing aids than any other hearing aids that I've ever worn before. It's quite unfortunate really, but it seems like our industry has completely let him down.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. Because again, it's my job to make sure that you're successful with these. Because if you're not, then I've not done my part. So I'm really elated to hear that as someone who's an experienced hearing aid wearer, how it's been going for you.
So to the viewer, yes, these are sponsored videos, and that is an absolutely true statement I gave about my experience of these hearing aids. Both of those things are true. Katie, thank you so much for walking me through this process. It's fascinating. I love the idea.
So it's a sponsored video, but the best that he can muster is that these hearing aids are the best audio streaming of any hearing aid I've ever used, which quite honestly, I'm not really impressed by that.
Could scale how many more people can be wearing hearing aids. It has been such a massive boon to my life and in a personal level to my marriage to be able to hear better. And I just want more people to go out and get these devices.
And I can appreciate that Adam wants more people to treat their hearing loss and actually scale how many people have access to hearing aids. But if we're looking at the actual market track data from 2025, over-the-counter hearing aid sales did not massively increase hearing aid adoption rates. It basically went from 39% to 40% And that's really not a game changer when you look at it. If over-the-counter hearing aids are really doing anything, it's probably getting people's feet wet and understanding what amplification can do, and then encourages them to go to a local hearing care professional so they can actually experience high-quality hearing care.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being an advocate for treating your hearing loss and trying to destigmatize that this is something that anyone should be embarrassed of, because it's a really cool piece of technology that really just connects people with the world and the people around them.
Kind of like glasses.
Kind of like glasses, yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Jabra Enhance for sponsoring today's video and for showing us how it's possible to get hearing care at home. For more information on Jabra Enhance Select hearing aids, you can follow the links below. And if you're even thinking you have some hearing loss, go get it checked out. Seriously, hearing aids are a miracle.
So as you can see, I wasn't a huge fan of this video. It was basically a big promotional piece for Jabra. Now, I'm not against sponsored videos or promotional videos even. I'm just against them when it's really promoting devices that don't have the ability to have best practices followed when using those devices. It's really unfortunate for a lot of individuals with hearing loss that are likely going to watch this video and decide to go to Jabra Enhance to purchase these devices that, in my opinion, are overpriced because the quality of care that you can even receive from these devices is very, very low. And again, that's not against the hearing care professional, it's just the way that they have to be able to dispense these devices online limits their ability to do a good job, or even an ethical job. But if you are considering going online to purchase a pair of hearing aids, you have to make sure that you're weighing the pros and cons, the added convenience perhaps, the lower cost perhaps, versus the quality of care and hearing your absolute best. But I want to know what you guys think about this video on Adam Savage's Tested channel. Do you think it's a good video, not a good video? Are you indifferent? Are you willing to purchase hearing aids online, or are you only willing to go into a local clinic? Let me know what you think down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.